Welcome to the yoga community and this Yin class with myself, Sarah, Narasimha. We're going to be practicing for about an hour, and I would recommend grabbing a blanket or two. You can have a blanket to lift the hips if it helps you release any of the muscles while seated, the hips, the knees. We want to be comfortable in our practice. A second blanket, if you desire, rolled up. We'll be using it later in the practice. You can also use a cushion from the couch, any pillow, but I'm going to try to use minimal props in case at home we don't have all of the extra stuff that we might have at the studio. So we'll begin by seating ourselves comfortably, lengthening through the crown and finding a comfortable seat, and begin cultivating a deep, long breath. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes and allow the sound of the breath as you inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Hands can be in the lap, on the thighs, the knees. Today we'll practice a samavriti breath, an equal breath on the inhale, and same length on the exhale. And as you breathe, allow the low belly to relax, the ribs to relax as you inhale, expanding the abdomen, allowing the diaphragm to fully extend, filling the lungs. And then with that same length on the exhale, pulling the belly back towards the spine. Slow, deep inhale. Slow, long exhale. It's important to keep a light, steady, non-forced breath throughout the practice. And by practicing the cultivation of this deep and slow breath at the beginning will help lay a foundation of ease in the poses by using the breath. Ease in the mind, calming the whole body, calming the mind, allowing the most we can achieve through these postures, allowing the breath to help relax the mind, body, even in a stretch that might be a little challenging. And with the in-breath, go ahead and open the eyes. We'll take our first posture, just take the legs straight out in front. You can leave the cushion or the blanket underneath the hips. And we're going to leave our feet forward, maybe flexed a little bit rather than pointed. I do have a toe injury, so if it looks a little different on one side than the other, that is the reason why. Keeping length in the spine, draw the shoulders back and lengthen all the way up through the crown of the head. align the crown first with the tailbone. And you're going to place the hands on either side of the hips, pressing down into the ground as you lengthen. So the bottom might not lift up, but we're just going to create that length through the spine, drawing the shoulders back. Allow the shoulder blades to knit towards one another as if laced up like a shoe. And tuck the chin slightly, so not down towards the chest necessarily, but back, so the back of the neck is lengthened. Sitting up tall, the shoulders back. Breathing deep and slow. And staying here, or if you like, begin to fold forward. We're going to keep the back as lengthened as we can before we fold forward. You can bring the hands forward, resting the forearms on the floor. If this is extremely tight in the hamstrings and you want your blanket, you can take your blanket however you like and maybe rest it on the thighs to give a little support to the chest. You can take your second blanket and place it on top of the other one to rest the forehead if the forehead doesn't quite reach the blanket, or you can even use the hands. And staying here for this first pose. The poses will hold for 1 to 5 minutes. And if your hamstrings are extremely tight, you can also take that blanket, lift the knees slightly, and place the blanket under the knees, another blanket on the belly to support the chest as you fold forward. And we don't want to go into the full expression of a pose right away in this yin class. We want to take it to an edge. And then as we breathe and as we experience the posture with that breath and that softening, maybe moving a little deeper into the pose. Using that time, creating that space with the breath. with the in-breath, slowly let the chest rise up. And remove the blanket from under the knees or on the thighs if it's on top of the thighs. And we're going to take a nice tall spine once again. And we're going to take the left leg and we're going to cross it over the top of the right. So the left ankle is going to be on top of the right knee. Try and have it above the knee. If this left knee is a little high and it needs a little support, take that blanket and bring it over to the underside of the thigh or the knee so that there's a little support. And take that nice straight spine again and begin to slowly fold forward over that bent knee. As far as you feel that stretch begin to happen, maybe in the back of the right leg, also in the hip, the left hip. You can use the hands to support the upper body as you begin to fold forward. Use that breath. The breath will help create space in the body. Literal as you inhale, expanding the lungs. And figurative as you send that breath into the areas needing release. And as you breathe into this pose, maybe the head begins to relax, the upper body begins to relax as you fold forward even deeper. And if you'd like some support for that forehead, any of the cushions or pillows that you might have, you can place in front of the forehead so that there's something for the forehead to rest upon. Again, a cushion or a blanket. Again, with the inhale, slowly rising up. We're going to take that left leg and straighten it out, and we're going to switch to the right side. So bending the right knee this time. Outer ankle on top of the left knee. Taking the blanket to the thigh or the outside of the knee on the right side to support if you need. And lengthen through the spine. And exhale, folding forward, keeping the back straight. To begin with, you can use the forearms on the ground to support the body. Lengthening, feel that stretch, keeping that length of the breath as well. It becomes short, maybe back out of the pose a little bit, regaining that space in the body to fill with air, fill with the breath, and then begin to fold forward into the pose again. And using the blanket for support with the forehead, however you like, or a cushion. And deep breath. The mind begins to wander. Bring it back to this space. Use the breath as a tool. Focus on the sound. And rhythm of the breath. And as you inhale, ride the breath up, lifting the chest, coming up, moving the blanket. And we're going to actually straighten the leg just for a moment, just to find some balance in between the poses and the sides. And we're going to take both of the feet, take the soles of the feet on the floor. We're going to reach under that right leg and take the left heel towards the right sit bone. And then we can step that right foot over the top to the outside of the left knee. And you can stay here and hug the knee into the chest if this is where you're at, or if you like, you can try to take the right heel towards the outside of the left hip, stacking the knees. Some knees might be extended up a little bit. You can use the blanket for support so that the knee isn't just hovering high above the other. If you can, stack the knees, staying here, like lengthen through the chest. Again, if it's a little bit too tight to be able to get this crossed, stacked knee, you can either leave the leg, right knee pointing up with the sole of the right foot on the floor. You can even come back to the straight leg, crossing the knee over the top. So there are many options. Once you find the option that works best for you today, we're going to sit up tall. We're going to take the arms out to the side. We're going to take our left arm and reach it up above the head. With that thumb, we're going to reach down the back. We're going to point the right hand thumb down towards the floor and swing it around our back and take our fingers up towards the left hand. They might not reach. If they don't, that's fine. If you'd like to grab a strap, if you have one available, or a towel or anything that would allow you to hold onto the, allowing the fingers and the hands to walk closer together with the strap or towel. And we're going to keep our back straight. Try to draw the ribs in towards the midline. If they're jutting out forward, draw them in. Lengthen through the crown. Holding here, using that breath. Opening the shoulders. Opening the chest. Deep breaths. The ribs will expand with this breath. See how this cultivation of breath affects the shoulders, maybe the hips. Notice how the body feels on the in-breath and that expansion of the chest, and the out-breath. Nice and deep, and long. And in this pose, I recommend maybe beginning to fold forward. This can be quite intense in the shoulders. If you like, just come back to seated if that's a little too much, allowing the back to remain straight. But if you begin to fold forward, using that breath, maybe coming all the way forward, relaxing over the stacked knees. Again, don't always come into
the full expression right away. Take some of that time using the breath, just coming to the edge and breathing into it. Inhale, ride the breath up. Slowly release the hands. Extend them out to the sides. Maybe bring them forward. Slowly hugging the body, hugging the shoulders. You can even massage the shoulders and the upper arms and the forearms. And slowly begin to unwind the legs. Taking them forward in front of you. Hug your knees into your chest. Draw your chest towards the knees. Lengthen through the spine. We're going to switch sides. So we're going to reach under, taking that right ankle, stepping the left foot over to the outside. Again, staying here if this is where you're at today, hugging the knee into the chest. Or if you'd like, you can begin to stack the knees. And if this isn't available today, or you need to support the top knee with a blanket or a pillow, you can also take the bottom leg and straighten it forward in front. You have options. I'm going to do the same as I did on the other side, and whatever you did on the other side, let's mirror it on this side. So we are going to start first with just having the knees stacked, or we're going to start with the legs, keeping the chest upright. And then we're going to take the arms out to the side. And this time we're going to take the right arm up overhead. We're going to take that thumb, point it out to the side, fingertips down towards the floor, reaching behind you. And the left side, we're going to take the thumb and point it towards the floor, bending the elbow and reaching the fingertips up towards the other hand. Again, using a strap, a towel, or anything you'd like to try to grasp onto and inch the hands closer together. If you don't have one, that is fine. You can just keep the hands in this position. If this is too intense or you have shoulder issues, you can refrain from this part of the pose. And use that breath, sitting tall. Again, if the ribs are coming out, draw the ribs inward. Also, if this is too intense on the shoulders and you just like to open the shoulder on the one side, you can gently hold the elbow with the left hand. Breathing into this pose, staying here. And after a few breaths, maybe begin to fold forward. Once you come forward, and if it's a little too extreme, you can always sit back up. And if you tried it on one side, please try it on this side as well. Using the breath. Make sure it's deep and long. And inhale, slowly sitting up, slowly releasing the arms. Again, hugging the arms, hugging the body, and a little massage. Begin unwind the legs. And hug the knees into the chest, a little centering. And then we're going to look behind to make sure there's space behind you. We're going to come onto our backs. And allow the knees to be pointing upward. The soles of the feet on the floor. Let's take the feet a little wider than hips distance apart. So maybe the edges of the feet come to the edge of the mat. Fingertips down towards the heels. You're going to lift the chest up and walk the shoulder blades down the mat, down towards the tailbone. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Place one hand on the belly, one on the chest, and as you inhale, feel the chest, the belly rise with the breath. And fall with the breath. Notice that the lower back is making contact with the floor. We're going to practice just for a moment, maybe putting some pressure in the feet so that you can adjust the tailbone. So you can tuck the tailbone and see how the lower back tends to flatten towards the mat. And when you extend it, maybe there's a small arch in the lower back. So we're going to pay attention to this space of the lower back on the mat in the next couple positions. So we're going to have a neutral space, so the back is mostly flat, maybe a little bit of space. We're going to pick up the right knee and hug the right knee into the chest. Again, notice what happens to that space. Maybe the lower back is more flat, more contact to the floor.
As you hug that right knee in, begin to straighten the left leg. If you find that the lower back is arching, maybe draw that left foot in, knee pointing up, until you find that space is no longer there. The lower back is mostly flat, and begin to straighten the leg again. Trying to keep a bit more flat back, less space in the back, between the back and the mat. And we're going to start to draw that right knee across the body, maybe picking up the hips and shifting the hip towards the right. And take that knee all the way across the body, or as far as is comfortable for you. You can use that left hand to guide the knee across. And maybe take that right arm out to the side. You can either extend the arm or bend the elbow into like a field goal or a cactus arm, and gaze over that right shoulder. A gentle twist. And as you breathe in through the nose, drawing the breath into the belly, feel the belly expand. And feel how this changes your experience in the pose. Being more aware of certain muscles that are affected as you breathe into the belly in the twist. How the ribs are affected by the breath in this twist. And allow that breath to help do some of the work. Where you're not forcing the body. The breath is helping you surrender into the opening of the stretch. Taking that stretch into the joint, helping lengthen and nourish connective tissues. we're going to keep that right knee where it is and take that right arm, lift it up, and we're going to roll onto that left side. We're going to begin to lift our chest and take our left arm onto the mat. So we're going to shift into a half frog in Sphinx pose. So allow that right knee to slide out to the side. I'm going to take the left forearm onto the mat. Adjust the hips till you find a comfortable position. If that left or right knee needs a little extra support under it, like a blanket, or if you are on a carpet, allow yourself to have a bit more support under that knee if there's too much pressure. And you can straighten, or not straighten, but begin to make a 90-degree angle with that right knee. And propping yourself up still on the forearms into Sphinx pose. We're going to lengthen through the crown. We're going to create space between the ears and the shoulders. So we're not going to be scrunched down like this. We want to press through the forearms, opening the chest, draw those shoulder blades down the back into this modified Sphinx and frog pose, half frog. If you like, you can begin to roll the head gently, dropping the chin down towards the chest and side to side, real gentle, slow, using the breath. And come to a stillness, allowing the head to softly hang. And drawing it up. And continue pressing into the elbows and the forearms. Dropping that right hip towards the floor. And using that breath to slow the mind and ease into the position in this posture, creating ease. And checking in with the mind. Using the breath. Draw those thoughts back to this space.
coming all the way down onto your chest, keeping that right knee out to the side. Let's take the arms in cactus arms, so the arms are bent at 90-degree angles. And you're resting your cheek onto the mat. And slowly come out of the pose. Draw the arms in towards the body. Roll a little bit onto the left hip so that we can straighten both legs behind us on our bellies. We're going to roll all the way onto our backs once again. Nice and slow. Take your time. Take the soles of both feet, place them on the mat. Knees come together, edges of the feet maybe in line with the edge of the mat. And allow the body to adjust. Feel the low back and the sacrum on the floor. Roll the sacrum around a little bit, readjusting, and create that flatness of the back on the mat. And we'll hug the left knee into our chest this time. And feel again the low back, flat on the mat. And begin to straighten that right leg out, hugging the left knee into the chest. Again, if you find that there's that arch in the lower back and that space, draw the right foot close to the body till you find that the back is flat on the mat, and begin to straighten that right leg again. And then we're not forcefully pulling the left knee towards the body, just use the weight of the hands, hugging the knee towards the chest. And begin to draw the left knee across the body, maybe picking up the hips and shifting them towards the left as the right hand helps draw the left knee across the body towards the floor. The left arm can come out to the side, maybe straight or bending the arm, and taking the gaze over the left shoulder. Again, experience the body with that deep inhale. Noticing, bringing awareness into the ribs, the hips, shoulders, noticing the sensation the deep breath gives in this posture. And we'll begin to take the left arm, lifting it up and rolling onto the right side. And as we press that left hand into the floor, we're going to come onto our bellies, leaving that left knee out to the side. Readjusting the body so that right hip is on the floor, belly's on the floor. The left knee out to the side again. If you need a blanket to help support, if there's pressure on that knee out to the side, you can take whatever you like. Another blanket, mat, or carpet if you're on the floor. And then adjust the chest, coming onto the forearms. Lifting the chest, taking that left foot and sliding it out so the knee's at a 90-degree angle, and begin to drop that left hip towards the floor as you press through the elbows and the forearms. Half frog, Sphinx pose. Lengthen through the crown, draw the shoulders back, make sure there's space between the shoulder and the ears. Lifting the chest, shining it forward. Allow the face to be calm, and then allow that breath to become rhythmic and slow and deep. Again, if you like, you can take the chin down towards the chest, maybe rolling the head gently side to side. And then coming to stillness in the center.
Continue pressing into the elbows, keeping the chest lifted. Deep breath, slow. And begin to release the arms, lowering the chest down to the floor. Elbows at cactus arms, 90-degree angles, and resting on the opposite cheek from the other side. Begin to lift the chest slightly, allowing that left leg to straighten out behind you. Pausing for a moment with both legs straight back, resting on the belly. Maybe take the forehead towards the mat. Pressing into the hands, we're going to lift the chest and come all the way back to child's pose. Reach the hands forward. Take the forehead towards the floor. And come to tabletop. We're going to come all the way down to the mats. We're going to do one more pose before Shavasana. And we're going to take our blanket and we're going to roll it up. We're going to place it on the mat and just begin to peel our back down. So the blanket's going to be on the mid ribs so that the shoulders come towards the floor and the head comes towards the floor. So the shoulders probably aren't going to be on the floor. The blanket's going to be just at the upper part of the ribs on the shoulder blades. Arms out to the side. Allow the head to fall towards the floor. If you need a little support with the head and you have another blanket, place the head on the blanket. Allow the arms to be open to the side. Allow the shoulders to be open and the chest to open. The legs can either be straight, or if you like, you can take the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to open towards the side. A Baddha Konasana, or diamond shape in the legs, similar to butterfly. If the legs are in diamond and you need a little extra help with the support of the outer thighs, take any pillow or cushion you like and place them on the thighs, underneath the thighs, giving support to the knees. If the legs are in diamond, gently draw the knees together. You can use the hands to support or straighten the legs. You're going to roll to the side, remove the blanket from underneath you, the ribs, and then roll back onto your backs. We're going to position ourselves for Shavasana. We'll hug the knees into our chest and maybe roll from side to side. If you like to take that rolled up blanket and place it under the knees, feel free. However you like your Shavasana, what's comfortable for you, prepare yourself. Slide the shoulder blades down and begin to release the body. Allow the body to become completely calm and relaxed, feeling heavy, supported by the earth. Allow the breath to flow in and out naturally. And as much time as you have free, set aside to remain in Shavasana. Staying here for many minutes.
to stay in Shavasana for a longer period of time. For now, I will roll onto my side, and when you're ready, do so. Feel free to remain in Shavasana. When you're ready to come out, gently press up to a seated position, taking a moment to sit cross-legged or however is comfortable to you. Taking a moment, eyes closed. Allow the breath to return to the body in a deeper, slower fashion. And taking a moment to feel the gratitude as I do. Thank you for joining me in this Yin class from the sanctuary you have created, wherever you may be. From the light in my heart, in this yoga community, thank you for joining me today. Namaste.